Today, over on the counter, you're going to get a black piece of paper, a worksheet that tells you step by step how to draw a gumball machine. Today you're going to need a black piece of paper, eraser, pencil, worksheet that tells you step by step how to draw gumballs, and then at your tables you'll have these images of Wayne Thibault's artwork. The first thing you're going to want to do is start by creating that circular part of your gumball machine. So I'm going to go to the top of my paper and I'm going to use those bowls that are at your tables. Alright, so again, you're going to have a black piece of paper, a worksheet that tells you step by step how to draw a gumball machine, a bowl that you will share at your table with everyone else. You'll need erasers, pencils that are at your table, and glue. We're going to use the super tight glue. I'm going to start by creating the top part of my gumball machine. I want this to go all the way at the top and make sure it's not going in the center because I want to make sure my gumball machine's nice and big. Do not forget to write your name on the back. And what do you write? 3. And today, if you can write your table color underneath that so that I know which table folder it needs to go into, that'd be great. So what are you going to write on the back? And table color. Good. So again, I'm going to go all the way to the top of my piece of paper. I want to center this and make sure it's nice and clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and trace around it. Once I've traced around it, I'm going to lift that up and now I have a nice central piece to work with. My next step is to create some diagonal lines starting to create the bottom of my gumball machine. At your tables you have these whiteboards. You can easily use these as a straight edge for creating those diagonal lines coming down the side of your gumball machine. You want to try to make those diagonal lines the same angle on both sides, so it looks very symmetrical. Again, remember, symmetrical is when it's the same on both sides. Does that make sense? Okay. Then I'm going to create the bottom of my gumball machine. The bottom of my gumball machine is going to be a curve. So it's going to curve across because a gumball machine is not flat, is it? What is the shape of the bottom part of a gumball machine? Sage. A silicone, and a silicone is round, right? So if we curve the bottom of this, it's going to make it appear to be round. Got it? And then I can add some vertical lines to create that little bottom edge. Bring it around, and notice how I'm using my whole entire piece of paper. I am going from top to bottom to make this gumball machine. I can add a square in the center for where you would put your moolah. I know, I'll fix it for you. I'm going to add another thingamajiggy underneath where the gumball comes out. So this is kind of another square, but it's smaller. And then you can add a diamond shape in the middle of that. You can make your diamond shape look more three-dimensional by adding some lines in the background above it to make it look like an actual three-dimensional object. You can then go in and add some additional lines to really create that look that it's curved and a cylinder in the bottom. Then you can go in and draw your circles. So your circles are going to eventually become gumballs. So you want to fill up your gumball machine as much as you can with circles. You want some of your circles to be behind and over other circles. So I will too put out some bottle caps for you too that you can trace if you feel like you want those to be really, really nice clean circles. Alright, they're great. So today we're going to be drawing some gumball machines inspired by the artwork of Wayne Thibault. So today you're going to be using this step-by-step how to draw a gumball machine. And we're going to be taking our bowls and turning them upside down to trace the top of it. We're going to be using this for a straight edge. We're going to be using pencils, erasers, and caps to create our gumballs. First though, we want to make sure we get our name on the back. So on the back you're going to write your name class, and underneath I want you to write out in pencil what color table you set out. This is a black piece of paper, so if you were to write it in your table color marker, I would not be able to tell. So if you write it out for me in pencil, I can read it, and then you'll be able to put it into your table folder so you can get to it right away next time. I'm going to start by creating the top part of my gumball machine. I want to go all the way to the top of my piece of paper, but I don't want to go off the page, so I want to leave a little bit of space on the edges and make sure it's in the center. I'm going to hold it down with one hand and trace around it. Once I have this trace, I can create the bottom part of my gumball machine. The bottom part is a cylinder, so it is round. So if I look at a cylinder and I turn it and I look at the bottom of it, you'll notice it's not straight across unless I look at it like this. Ours, we're going to be able to see some of the top. So if you look at the top, you're going to notice it's curved. It's not straight across. This is called foreshortening. This is when we can take three-dimensional forms and draw them on a two-dimensional surface. We are foreshortening it. So I'm going to create my cylinder by taking the straight edge here. I'm going to draw two diagonal lines on each side. My diagonal lines are not going to go all the way to the bottom. They go a little over halfway down. I also want to make sure my diagonal lines are about the same angle so that I can create a very symmetrical looking gumball machine. Now I'm going to create that bottom part. I want to make sure the ends are about the same distance down, and I want to create a curved bottom to really emphasize that this bottom portion is a cylinder, so it's going to curve around. I then can adjust it a little bit. And maybe I want to have a little bit of a lip here that's coming around. But again, really emphasize that it is curved. In the center, I can create the knob for my gumball machine. I can use, again, the straight edge at my tables and create a rectangle in the middle of the cylinder. It's almost like a cone too, though, with the top cut off. So you can think of it however you want. Either way, it does have a round bottom, not a straight one. So you can use this for straight lines and kind of sketch out what you're doing. And then in the center, you can create the knob that you will turn in order to turn your gumball out. So your knob could be a diamond, it could be a rectangle, but by creating the top part, adding some diagonal lines going in the same direction, and then lines that are parallel to those front diamond lines, you can create the illusion of a three-dimensional form there as well. Underneath that, I'm going to create a square for where that gumball is going to come out. You could even create a little slot for where you put the coin, and you could even say, you know, put like 25 cents on here. So you can add some details to make it really unique to what you're doing, or you could put 25 on here, so however you want to do that. So again, you can go in and add some details to make it nice and unique to what you're doing. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the gumballs. We are going to be tracing all of our pencil line with glue. So I want to make sure our gumballs are nice and big so the glue doesn't fill in that whole space, so we can still add some color in there. So I'm going to go ahead and trace around the gumball, my bottle cap here, and I can overlap to make it look like some gumballs are in front of others, to really give the appearance of space in my gumball machine, making it look nice and realistic. I always go and erase the inside of the other one, so I remember not to go over that with glue later on. You can add some things in the back like that. And I'm going to continue this all the way up. Alright, so I'm all done drawing my gumball machine. The next step is going to be gluing it. We're going to be using super tight white school glue here. So we are going to open it up, and you might have to make sure it works. So if you squeeze it and it makes a nice noise, then you know it's open. For this, you want to make sure that you're really putting the right amount of glue on it. So if you want to take a practice sheet of paper and draw a line and just trace over it to make sure you can make a nice clean line, you can do that. So when I am gluing, I always hold my glue with 2 hands, go directly above the line, but pretty close to it so I can make a nice clean line. And I'm going to trace around it. So I have a nice even line all the way across. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to my gumball machine and really take my time. And go all the way around. Really focus on following your pencil line. Nice steady hands. I'm going to continue doing this all the way across my piece of paper. Alright, so I've gone ahead and glued all over my gumball machine, and you can see some areas where it's not quite perfect, so I can just kind of clean it up. I wanted to make you aware that there is a little lip on the top of this, so if you lift up your glue bottle a little bit off the page, your glue is not going to be touching that. So make sure instead of dragging it along it, you're going to be creating a nice scrape across. It's not going to help you create these borders for when we're adding color. So just lift it up off of the paper a little bit. That will really help. We're going to be putting this in the drying rack now. Very important that we're holding it like this with 2 hands and not tilting it, because we want that glue to stay nice and level so that it creates those nice borders for when we go in and add color. All right?